Hi, it's Tara Davis. Welcome. I have some great information for you today. Let's talk about today how eating for your health is so incredibly important. So, about 10 years ago, I started on a journey with my body about learning how the foods that I ate were affecting my health. Up to this point, I didn't realize that the food I was eating had such an impact on my body. What caused me to take awareness was the fact that I started having a lot of bloating going on in my system. I stopped having go to the bathroom regularly, or I would have the opposite, and I would have diarrhea. So I actually started thinking that there was something drastically wrong that I needed to go to the doctor for when a friend had suggested that I might be allergic to gluten. And so I did some research, went to my chiropractor, and we did some muscle testing, and I realized that, in fact, I was allergic to gluten. That started an interesting journey over the next several years that my body started weeding out several different food items that it no longer wanted to consume. So I had to become diligent in label reading to find out what all the hidden names were for gluten, what all the hidden names were for dairy, for sugar. All in all, my body decided I don't eat anymore. I can't eat dairy or gluten, processed sugar. I can eat tons of fruit, but sugar I just really can't do. My body, it's eggs, yeast, and garbanzo beans. So it's a pretty big list, actually. And so here's what I have learned over the last almost 10 years, how my body reacts to these different foods. So that's what I want to share with you today, is how your body can potentially be reacting to these foods, and maybe you don't even realize what's going on. So first of all, also, your body can react almost immediately to a food you've eaten, and it can also take 12 to 24 hours before it shows up, before any of these sensitivities show up in your body. So just because you're not allergic per se to a food doesn't mean that your body isn't sensitive to it and you need to weed it out of your diet. So oftentimes, we've talked about bloating. Oftentimes, that's the first thing that happens when you have a sensitivity is your belly is just super bloated and you almost have an inner tube running around, your midsection. That's the first biggest one. Another one is an itchy digestive tract, like your digestion isn't really happening, but there's something itchy going on. So for me, it wasn't something that I couldn't stand. It was just something that I noticed that felt very uncomfortable and sort of itchy. Another one is digestive blocks. So I would notice that after eating, it would almost feel as if my food were stuck like right underneath my diaphragm. Like it was sitting there and it wasn't digesting and emptying out into my belly. Like the next day, I would wake up and that feeling would still be there and I really wasn't hungry. It felt like everything was stopped. What I learned is that the digestive tract, when you have a sensitivity to food, it almost becomes paralyzed and the food is just kind of stopped right there. It's swollen and the food just kind of stops and everything else around it stops. And so I wouldn't even be hungry for like 12, 14 hours after eating whatever food it was that I was sensitive to. So this is something that you might notice. No going to the bathroom. Like I wouldn't go to the bathroom for like 24 hours or 12 hours, or I wouldn't be on my normal schedule. And we're talking about going poo, not pee. So I wouldn't be on my normal schedule. So that is something to watch and to recognize that, oh, well, this is off. Sour belly. I mean, when I grew up, my grandmother makes the most fabulous pies and cakes and homemade ice cream. So growing up, we had so much dessert in the family. It was part of a Sunday dinner. When we would go to grandma's, we would have dessert. I always had a sour belly, but I didn't realize that that wasn't part of the deal. You're not supposed to have a sour belly after you eat. So for me, it was sugar. I just wasn't digesting sugar properly. Still having a sour belly the next day. Recently, I ate something that I didn't realize was in what I had eaten. And I had a sour belly after I ate, so it was a clue to me that, oh, God, there was something in there that just wasn't resonating. I still had a sour belly at night. I still had a slightly sour belly when I woke up. So that was something to notice that it's not the flu. It is probably something that you've eaten. I'm not taking away from the flu. Let's just face it. It's probably something that you've eaten. Spacey after I've eaten. So for me, when I eat gluten or dairy, those are the two biggest ones for me, and eggs. Those are the three biggest ones for me. When I eat those, for me, it's such a combination going on in my body. I feel, first of all, pretty tired after I've eaten, like 20, 30 minutes, I'm ready for a nap. My belly is really bloated. I feel spacey, disconnected, like I'm not motivated, don't want to think, don't want to get back to work, just want to lay down and check out, read a book, take a nap. I just have no motivation. That is a major food sensitivity. If you've got irritable bowel syndrome, check out what you're eating and see what's going on with your bowels and your digestive system that you can figure out with food. Okay, so that is all of the list that I have. What I would love for you to do is to let us know, because the more that we talk about this, the more that other people can identify what's going on within their own bodies and realize that they might need to make some shifts to food. It's a process, it's a journey. So be very gentle with yourself, but just start to realize and be aware, invite in maybe this shift and change that's ready to happen. I will see you next week.